I look like the Godfather. I'm having to be a little darker tonight because I'm setting up my morning because I'm doing a show in Philadelphia tomorrow for the Voice of Philly. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm keeping everything on how I keep the studio. Anyway, so I apologize for it being a little bit darker.
Did a little bit of everything in game one, scored 27 points, but the real highlight for him was on defense. He held the Bucks to 1 for 11 shooting, becoming the third player over the last 8 years to hold an opposing team to under 10% from the field in a finals game while defending at least 10 shots. And our own Malika Andrews sat down with Devin Booker as the Sun Star.
Michael Aviani got 30 months in jail. You know what's funny? That guy, when he went after, when he was taking advantage of the stripper, nobody cared. But when he went after Nike nailed his ass. Tried extorting Nike, and Nike was having none of that. Nike's got very big time political influences in Washington, D.C., and that wasn't going to happen. Creepy lawyers taking advantage of people. It's funny, man, when you see the news media like building a guy up and they come crumbling down in front. That's why you should never tie yourself to anybody. Don't ever do it. You have no idea about their backgrounds. And everything you hear on TV or on social media.
I just credit the culture and the environment around here that I feel that we worked hard to develop. Starting with Coach Monty, starting with that bubble performance that we put on. You know, if we don't get a chance to play in the bubble, I don't know if this team is assembled. So I think what we did down there in the bubble made enough noise to people seeing that there was some young gunners over here that, you know, they could rock with.
What have you learned about him as his teammate that maybe you couldn't glean as his opponent?
Pretty much everything. I mean, you can see his past experiences have motivated him to this point. He wants it, and he wants it bad. It's a contagious feeling. Seeing it in his eyes, he doesn't even have to say anything to it. It's just understanding what he's worked so hard for a very long time. You know, we all want it.
Maybe one of the greatest winners in the history of this game was Kobe Bryant, and you have the legendary tattoo. There it is. Have you reflected at all on what he has done as you're now trying to do it?
I mean, I've reflected on it mostly my whole childhood and my whole career, honestly. Just taking bits and pieces of what the approach, you know, the mentality, the competitive nature of it. Everybody feels
Mamba.
that you don't have to be a basketball player to understand what Kobe has done for, you know, people's mindset and approach to the game. You know, that's what, you know, probably take most from him.
Have you thought at all about what he might say to you as you're going through this now, or what you might want to ask?
Like Queen, right? Is this the real life?
I know that right now. He said, get it done. And that's what we're trying to do.
Oh my God! I gotta mention that. I'm now like part of Cameo.
Remember, the Suns finished under 500 a season ago. You add in the point guard, CP3, you re-energize that young talent, and here you are at the 2021 NBA Finals. Now Welcome back to Nino's Escape Room. No. We broke it once. We'll do it again.
This is way bigger than last time. Tournament of Champions, rated PG-13.
What's he gonna chase? The slider? Nah. The changeup? Oh, I've got it. Curveball. Never halfway.
I'm tired.
We are not here on this planet to close our eyes to the world.
We're here to go out. To experience its many wonders.
Because through our experiences,
We become bigger than ourselves.
travel has the power to shape our world.
Make us whole again.
30 hotel brands and endless experiences. Where can we take you?
This national nightmare is almost over.
Find a fine life, baby.
Welcome to Allstate. Where we're driving down the cost of insurance. Drivers who switched saved over $700. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands. Click or call for a lower rate today.
At Chipotle, real food always starts with real ingredients in real kitchens. When you order Chipotle, real food starts with you. Whether it's a restaurant, pickup, or delivery. However you Chipotle is the easiest way to Chipotle.
A lot of folks have been waiting for this one.
Tomorrow, LeBron, Robin, exclusive, and would Leg take this?
You did feel a little added pressure, didn't you?
I was intimidated. You know, I can't even sit here and lie to you, Robin.
Tomorrow,
It's time to change.
only on.
Good morning, America.
It was 1968, the year I turned 12. I'd never be as popular as my sister, as smart as my mom, or as bad as my dad. Be cool, but 12 was the age I was going to figure out what my bad was.
NBA Countdown on ABC is presented by DoorDash, the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA.
First finals game in 28 years, and the Suns give their fans an unlimited performance. Rodgers, inside, blocked by Antetokounmpo. Chris Paul's first finals game has been a brilliant performance.
I think I'm just focusing on the task at hand.
Gotta find a way to win the game.
Welcome back to NBA Countdown. Well, obviously, every single player on here wants to take home the Larry O'Brien Trophy because no one has won a championship on either sideline. So it's going to be fun to crown one. But the one we've been focused on most certainly, Jay Will, is CP3, and he showed us in his finals debut that he could be impressive.
Yeah, 32 points in game one, 9 assists. I think the Bucks have to do more blitzing him on ball screens, giving him different looks defensively. But here's the one thing that you have to worry about with CP3 is that if you're going to have him funnel, you cannot let him get back to his right hand. CP3, when he attacks, always comes back to his right hand. Force him to finish over the trees with his left. That is the one single flaw of CP3.
And when players get old, Jay, they don't want to continue to drive to the basket, and they definitely don't want to fall on the floor. So you got to be physical with the old fella.
Jay, what do you know about getting old? You don't know anything about that, okay? Meanwhile, okay, Drew Holiday is going to have to play defense and do it well because that's that two-way player that the Bucks are only going to have in the postseason.
Yeah, Marino. Milwaukee needs Drew Holiday to score the ball. They traded for him in the offseason thinking he was the final piece for them to win a title. They signed him to a $135 million extension. And they're telling him they need him to be aggressive offensively, even when Giannis is back. And sometimes he'll defer with Giannis on the floor, but they need a real big three offensively to get back in this series against Phoenix.
Well, Holiday is the first Bucks player to average 20 points and 10 assists in a playoff series, so he's trying to get back to some of those numbers. Meanwhile, Giannis first came back after missing 2 at the high breaks in the NBA. He had 11 shots in game 1. Okay, game 2, the expectation is what?
4 points in the paint for Giannis, Lopez, Portis, Borges,
game from Drew Holiday. Get to the free throw line and Chris Middleton. And Giannis is going to have more confidence with that knee to attack. He played 35 minutes of that first game back. He's got belief in that knee, and I think you'll see him with a lot more downhill drives, and the Bucks certainly want to get him going in transition.
Exactly, Rose. That's the key point. Get him going in transition. His offense becomes stagnant, and he goes iso and pulls the ball down for a drive. But he also has to create shots for other people on their team. He can do that in transition.
And the Bucks flat out got waxed in game one because they let Phoenix do everything well. They beat him in the fast break points. They had 20. They beat him in pace points +2. They beat him in free throws made +14. For the Bucks, you got to limit those categories.
Well, and it's crazy to think that the Bucks hit 16 threes and still lost by double digits, and so they were doing some things well. But obviously the Suns were better, and that guy was amazing, shooting at 80% from the field in game one.
Soft touch around the hoop, but here's what I like about him as a modern day big. When he gets switched on a smaller guy like PJ Tucker, he's going to score on him. He's going to punish him, and that's unlike Rudy Gobert in the previous.
Hmm. Let's make sure we get there. Oh boy. What's up, Junior? Thank you. Yes. No, I don't hear that. I only hear Kong. King MFing Kong. Yeah. No. Big Zills. Oh my God. Big Zills. Wait a minute. I don't know, man. Big Sills, Big Zills. I don't know, man. See, that guy's he has no identity. Nobody cares if you steal his. Yeah, no. Right. We'll see. I've had my foot on that guy's throat his whole life. And what? Oh. That's funny. Sorry. That's freaking funny, man. Really, man? No. You know what's ruthless? When, his old lady has to change her sheets every Thursday night. No, we'll just ask him why she has to change her sheets. He'll tell you. I don't want to go to it because I am on YouTube here, and I don't want to put anything out there where, like, I could have something come back to haunt me where, like, because, well, no, I just don't want, it to be misconstrued in any way. Yeah. It's okay. Every Thursday night, ask him. Oh, and by the way, she left her shoes over, too. It's all good. Bada bang. So, Junior, have you done any thought process on this interview stuff? Okay, I'm off at 3 o'clock. Wait a minute. I'm off at not 3 o'clock. I'm off at I go 1 to 3. Oh, I do. I go 1 to 3 Pacific. And I get that and what they'll do is they'll post the show in about 15 minutes. And can I send that over to you in time to have it on the air by 6? Watch this. By 6, maybe even the second hour. Doesn't really have to be in the first hour of the show, Chris. Okay, well then let's put it in the second hour of the show. Yeah, but this new affiliate. Whatever you think is best. Yeah, because what I want is I want that thing to be really hot for this new affiliate because I'm going to make some money off this thing. Because it's Orlando, and I was there 13 years, and I know everybody in there. I've already spoken to 100 people. It's great. Really? I was King Kong in those markets. I was King Kong. Why Bubba was stealing Arbitron books, Big Sills was killing them. Sills. Oh. No. Oh, really? Well, I'm working on Tampa, too. We may have Tampa by the start of the football season, too. How you doing? Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, wait till you hear what. I got to save it for the air, but it's funny. You have to go. What the hell? I'm going to do it right now here in about 20 seconds or whatever the hell it is. Jesus criminy. Thank you. Appreciate it, Wayne. Oh, man, you dick. Good evening, America. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Hope all are having a spectacular time. Pull up a chair for the next 3 hours and sit here with the Radio Happy Hour. That's what we like to dub it here on the Dan Sileo Show. It's really great. Great time. You know, I'm looking forward to football season, but then again, if I say that, you know what happens? That means it's the end of summer, isn't it? And I don't want it to be the end of summer, but man, do I want football season to come. And I think it's going to be one of the greatest years in football history. I can't wait. By the way, I got to start the show off. So I don't know if you guys know what this platform is or this app called Cameo. So out of the blue today, I get a call from Chicago. Dan, hi, this is Sydney from Cameo. Do you know who we are? And I go, yeah, you're the people that have a website. It's like an app or something where you do these personal greetings for people around the country, right? They ask, you know, a particular like celebrity or somebody if they would do it. And they go, yeah, well, we're hoping that you would join us. I'm like, man, I'm nobody. I'm just a big mouth radio host. They go, yeah, you know, that's kind of something. Okay. That's kind of something that, you know, is something that we like about you. All right. And I'm like, I don't know, man. And then they go, well, we pay you $60 per hit and we got 10 lined up for you. I went, what? He goes, yeah, you just have to spend a minute. And I was like, really? Just me saying, hey, John, how you doing? Happy anniversary. Yes, that's it. I had to do like a practice video today. Man, I'll tell you something. Everything is streaming today. Radio, Facebook. Platforms are expanding so much. So I started thinking to myself, listen, I can't be a curmudgeon and not do this. So I signed up for it. I think they're going to have my link available either Monday or maybe even tomorrow. So that happened. And I'm sitting there and I'm going like, okay. And then we find out again, we're going to have the start date here in the next couple days on when we start up in Orlando here on USA Radio Network. This is really cool. We got some really great stuff happening. So we thank you so much for helping us expand the show. Thank you so much. Really, it means a lot to us. All right, let's move on here. Hey, Michael Avenatti. Oh, God, this couldn't happen to a better dude. Holy cow, this could not happen to a better guy. I knew he was a creep. Okay? You really knew he was a creep, didn't you? And if you didn't, you were the people that hated Rudy Giuliani. Now, by the way, I'm not suggesting in any way Rudy Giuliani, that guy does not at all resemble the dude that was the mayor of New York. Right? The mayor of New York, that was my mayor, man. This Rudy Giuliani, I'm like this. I don't really know who that guy is. Conspiracy theories. I mean, you would think he's Art Bell, right? The legendary night host who had all these conspiracy theories. You would think he was like, he could have hosted Art Bell's show at one time. And you're like, dude, what happened to 9/11, Rudy? Right? Now he's being disbarred in D.C. and New York, and he's on the cusp of the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? But if you tuned on, I don't know, a year ago, Michael Avenatti was on everywhere. Do you know that between MSNBC and CNN, they interviewed that tool 156 times? This guy's a beast. Trump's afraid of him. It's incredible. This guy's making money off of strippers. Look at what he's done for Stormy Daniels. Yeah, he extorted her. A stripper. Nobody cared about the stripper. And plus it was because the stripper had an affair, allegedly, with Donald Trump. So nobody cared. So guess what? Okay, you're kind of like this. Look, yeah, he's making money off of strippers. Whatever, man. You know, people don't really have a lot of respect for other people's gigs. How funny is that? You know, just because she's a stripper doesn't mean you should not give her respect. You know, who are you? And who are you to judge? I think if a person makes a living and they're good folks, I really don't care what you do as long as you're not hurting people. I don't have a problem with anything people do as long as you're a good person. Man, I don't know why we don't start there. But then guess what? Michael Avenatti went after Nike. He tried extorting Nike. I have all this information. This guy thought he had he had the Russian file that was going to put Trump away. And, really, this guy here thought he was going to extort Nike. The paying of student at, you know what the judge did today? Gave him 2.5 years in the can. And he was crying today in court. Congratulations to you, scumbag. You now are where you belong, in jail. Extorting people, taking advantage of people, can't happen to a better guy. You knew that guy was not a solid dude from day. I did. He extorts people. Michael Avenatti was making millions, and Stormy Daniels was still dancing at strip clubs. Come on, man. You didn't really see the writing on the wall with that guy. And then he goes after Phil Knight and Nike. You knew he was going to get his ass kicked. when he went after Nike. Now, you think Nike was going to tolerate that? Do you know the people that Nike have in Washington, D.C., the PAC people, and the amount of political influence that they have in Washington? Why do you think they hated Donald Trump to the T's? You know why they hated Trump? Because Trump was ending a lot of trade with everyone that was in Japan, Taiwan, China. 87% of the wear that Nike makes overseas and sells to Americans is made there. You think Nike was going to be a fan of Donald Trump? Absolutely not. You got big money people in Washington that Nike supports. And so this guy here went after Nike. You knew the writing was on the wall. Know the room, dude. You can extort strippers because really everybody's judgmental in our country now. You're not really going to care that much. But you go after a corporation like Nike that has the political influence that they have, you're going to get your ass found in jail. And that's what happened to him today. Put in prison for 2.5 years for trying to, get this, extort a company that he had no evidence on. And because the media had built him up to be this new super guy, he thought his image and his name was bigger than he actually was. That shows you how media people, though, build people up. Hey, it happens in the sports business, too. You build a guy up like Tiger. All of a sudden, Tiger has a issue when it comes to his marital affairs. What happens? They tore that guy down to smithereens. Remember with Kobe and his case in Colorado? Kobe Bryant was destroyed. You know, I'll tell you this about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, when he was alive and he was able to get his reputation back, Kobe's probably the only guy I've ever seen that was able to change the direction of how people thought of him and turn himself into a superhero again. It was well done by Kobe. And there's no question Nike helped him do it. And I would also say this. His marriage to Vanessa solidified that too. Because if Kobe would have got divorced, I don't know if Kobe rebounds from that. But again, the point is, look at what the media does to people and what they can do to you. One day, you're the toast of the town. The next day, you're toast. And that's exactly what happened to Michael Avenatti today. 2.5 years in jail. What a low life. You know, I mean, really, this guy was out. I mean, he's the ultimate ambulance chaser. And he thought he was going to go after a corporation like Phil Knight has. Oh, boy. You talk about egg on your face. Good night, guy. And by the way, do me a favor. Try the bologna sandwiches with Kool-Aid. Goes very well in prison. Do it for lunch. You may have to actually have it for dinner as well. Hate that guy. All right, let's move on here. So the big story surrounding the Olympic Games. By the way, my boy Chris O just said there's going to be no fans, obviously, because of an emergency situation with COVID-19 in Japan. And there's going to be no fans in the stands. That really sucks. That really sucks for the athletes. And I would say this, for people in the world to be able to celebrate these magnificent athletes. I think that should also put the NFL and college football on notice, and maybe some of the other sports leagues too. But here's my problem with that ruling by the Olympics. It's outside, man. It's outside. Have we not learned one thing? If you're vaccinated and it's outside, it limit the amount of people rolling into the buildings then. It's outside. Follow the science, damn you. They're not following the science again. They're following the politics. It's outside. Have 5,000 people in the building. Do your social distancing. You can have people in the building. Man, stop being afraid. Jesus, criminy. You know the NFL is having full houses. College football, full buildings. This weekend, UFC 264 in Vegas, full T-Mobile Center. Man, stupid decision. Stupid. Wreck the Olympic game. Hey, man, get this. This is on you. I just hope it doesn't influence the production that we're going to see from Team USA because I can't wait. But speaking of that, I'm going here with the Sha'Carri Richardson story here, and I want to ask you something here. This is going to be a little bit touchy, so follow me here when I say this. I actually tweeted this out at Dan Sileo Show. And you know what? I'm going to wait because this is not something that I could do in a minute. Okay? Sha'Carri Richardson, just to inform people, she cannot perform at the Olympics, and she's not even been chosen for the 4x100 relay team for the track and field team of Team USA. She's the world champion right now in the 100 meters. She could have broke, I think, Florence Griffith Joyner's 100-meter record. Okay? I want to ask you something here about how the Olympic Committee acts. Okay? And their so-called rule book. I think it's flawed. And I'll tell you why. We'll do it next right here on the Dan Sileo Show. What's that? Really? I did go on their website and I saw a lot of like actors, B actors. Oh God. Oh my God, I think that's a good goof, man. I got to see who I'm on there with. Hold on here. Hold on here, man. That's a great take. Let me see if I'm going to be able to get some business here. Let me see who my competition is. Cameo.
Here's the definition of a cameo.
There we go.
A small character part in a
Shut
player
the
movie.
hell up. Here we go. Here we go. Robert Englund. Stefan Marbury. Does he still play? Yeah, I don't think so either. Who's David Foster? Actors. Kevin Sussman. Who's that? Isabel Merced. I don't know any of these people. She's on it? Okay, I see Daryl Strawberry. Ric Flair's on it. Roy Jones is on it. Pete Rose is on it. Mia Hamm. Holy cow, man. Mick Foley. I'm good. Big Sills. That guy was soup. Holy cow, man. Big Sills Kareem. Ric Flair. I'm in. Holy cow. So wait a minute. I'm actually a celebrity then. No, he's not on it. There's no way. That was a prerequisite for me to be on Cameo, is that Godzilla's not on it. Okay, kind of. I like the Doors. Oh, yeah, me and Farsky. Who's Perez Hilton? Cameo. No idea who that guy is. Cameo. I'm going to go back here and look. Holy cow! Cameo.
Here's the definition of cameo. A small character part in a play or movie.
This is
played by
great.
a distinguished actor or a celebrity.
Diamond Dallas. Hacksaw Jim Duncan. He can't be. I won't. Holy cow, look at this, man. Andre Dawson, Mia Hamm. Big Seals has been added to the Cameo family. If you would like to have Dan do a video in any way whatsoever, $45.95, I would be wonderfully open to do it for you. $45.95. I think it's stupid. It's okay, though. Whatever. Hey, watch this. I'm doing what everybody's trying to do today. So anyway, a lot of fun here. So we got asked to do that, and all good. I want to get to a topic that I think we could probably carry over a few segments here, and I want to ask you something here. So the Sha'Carri Richardson story is absolutely brutal. This young lady has and had a chance to break all kinds of world records and become a superstar beyond the box of Wheaties. Her whole entire future was set up here in Tokyo for her to go and shine. Really, Simone Biles on the gymnastics team and her had a wonderful chance at coming out of these Olympic Games as heroes. Funny thing, on the way to the podium, Sha'Carri Richardson tested positive for marijuana. And she now can't even perform at the Olympics in any way whatsoever. She's not even been invited to the 4x100 team. And why that is, I don't know. Well, let me ask you this, though. So the Olympics are cool with transgender people going into the Olympic Games and portraying themselves as women. But they have a problem with women testing positive for weed. I mean, the debate on whether or not a man who's born a man then calls himself a woman to compete in women's sports in the Olympics is far more detrimental to the sport of women than anything that you could do when you're smoking pot. Don't you think? How could you allow a biological man, and that's what it is. I'm sorry. You know why I'm a little bit more on that side of the aisle? Because I don't want my daughter competing against a man in rugby. You're born a man. And if you call yourself something else, you're still a man. And by the way, you want to hear something? If you want to dress as a woman, phenomenal. If you want to call yourself a woman, that's I'm not debating that. But you're still a man. And I don't know where that has become acceptable, but smoking pot? I'll tell you something, man. If you're a woman in today's sports landscape, you have a lot of things to climb up the hill to greatness. Now you're competing against dudes. You're also don't have the same exposure that the men have. I don't know where all these feminists are, and I don't know where people like Martina Navratilova and Billie Jean King are when it comes to helping women's sports. You're invading women's sports with things that should not be happening. I posted this on my Twitter page. And you know what? When you immediately say this, you're a homophobe. I don't even know if it's homophobe. I don't know what it is. It's not. Transphobic. Chris just told me. No, I've said this 100 times. Do I think they should compete in the Olympics? I do, but not against women. Why would you do that to the women's sport? Have a separate category. I'm cool with that. No problem with that. But watch this. You could be a biological man and compete in women's sports, but you can't smoke weed if you're a woman. I'll expand more on this. Keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. That's crazy, man. I posted that on my Twitter page. I said, so let me get this right in women's sports. I was a little more graphic. I'm not going to be graphic on my radio show, but I was like this. I go, so let me get this right. If you're a woman and you're an Olympian, you can't smoke pot, but you can have a penis. It doesn't make sense to me, man. Thank you, Trevor. I think so. I think it's completely unfair. It's great. I actually like that. He actually sounds like Eminem a little. Is he a black rapper? White. I don't know how you accept that it's okay to have a transgender person competing in women's sports that have struggled so mightily over the decades just to get equal footing, like Serena battling to get equal pay in the Wimbledon and French Open. And now you got guys invading and calling themselves women. Bro, I'm sorry. I'm not for that. It's crazy. Chris, that's crazy. Right. It's depressant. Exactly. It's not a stimulant. Oh, yeah. No. Oh, absolutely. Look at what happened to Greece. You count on people traveling to Japan. And it's also a chamber of commerce, like view, the great views of Japan, and now no fans in the stands. I'm not going there. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. By the way, this is not going to be a comment here to cover Big Sills' ass here. When I say what I'm going to say here, because I truly believe that nobody in this country and nobody in this world should be ever excluded from reaching dreams and going after gold. I guess right there is a perfect metaphor there. You have every right to reach your dreams and your shot at greatness. I would never in any way ever be against any group in this world. Gays, transgender, blacks, what? I would never. It's not my makeup, I would never go down that road. However, I do think you have to have integrity when it comes to, especially a sport like women's sports. Now, again, I got to tell you something. Did I care about women's sports 20 years ago? No. You know why? I didn't have a daughter then. And so did me having a daughter open my eyes to see what the discrepancies were towards women's sports? Absolutely. The men get better locker rooms than the women. They get better travel. They get a chance to stay at better hotels. Hell, we saw that a little bit in the NCAA tournament when they had better workout facilities than the women did when they were going through their tournament. Women bitched about it. NCAA got caught with their pants down. They had to go in there and give them the same facility and the same ability that workout that the men had. And see, that was just a given. When they say, what's that thing called, Chris? White focus. What is it called? Where white people have like the privilege. Okay. White privilege. Okay. White privilege. Well, get this. Our country is more set up with gender discrimination than it is with white privilege. What's funny? We talk so much in this country about how minorities don't have it right. Are you kidding me? The group in this country that doesn't have it right is women. Women have been crapped on in this country's history more than any other people that we have lived with the entire history of our country. It's been women. Last to get the right to vote. How about this? They allowed slaves after the Civil War to have rights to vote. Women didn't have it until the 20th century. Think about that. Women are the people that we've held back. And now, again, it's so obvious to me because I see it. Women are the people in this country that get kicked to the side and get kicked to the curb. And get this, we always just assume that it's cool. We teach women in this country to be submissive. I teach my daughter the direct opposite. My daughter gets in my face. I told her today, what's funny? You're going to love this. Hey, here, honestly, my daughter said something. We were talking. As a matter of fact, we were talking about this Cameo thing. And I said, yeah. So she goes, well, you're interrupting me here. And you know what? If you'd shut your mouth, I'd sit and I looked at her and I go, do you know if you were a dude, I'd throw you off a building? And she looked at me and she goes like this, you ain't throwing me off one. My daughter has no fear in me. And I'm like this. Actually, that's a really cool thing too. You're not supposed to fear your dad. Okay. And so she was like, but I loved it in a way. Because you know why? My daughter will talk to me like that. She'll talk to every single person that tries to take advantage of her like that. And I want her to. I'll teach my daughter to be submissive. I want her to be a leader. You know, every place my daughter goes, teammates gravitate to her as a leader. My kid's a leader on her team, and she was the player of the year on her rugby team in her first year of D1 rugby. It's a mindset. So that's why, and again, I want to make sure I underscore this. I'm not against transgender. I am against transgender competing in women's sports. I'm completely against it. And you can call me anything you want on that. I just think it's unfair to women. And by the way, I would ask you to ask gay women if they think it's fair. You know, I tried to ask Martina Navratilova this question, and she evaded it because I believe that lesbians and gays are in a really tough position when you're asked this question because you don't want to discriminate and you don't want to segregate. And hey, for me, sitting here on the mic and pretending that I'm some sort of like sociology major, I'm not. I'm just saying as a former competitive professional athlete, I find that to be uncool. I do. I find that to be uncool. Now watch this. Would I want a woman being able to compete in men's sports? Yeah, if you can do it, have at it. It's funny, isn't it? I wouldn't have a problem with that. I would not at all. If a woman can make an NBA team, I don't know. I'm cool with it. If you can. Hey, how about a kicker in the NFL? One of the great soccer players that we have on Team USA. They were able to do it. Like, how about this? Do you know that I cheered? I can't think of her name. That soccer girl that kicked for Vanderbilt. And she was the first woman to kick in a D1 collegiate men's football game. I can't think of her name from Vanderbilt. But I sent her a tweet and I said, congratulations on breaking and making history. Good for you. I thought it was a great moment. Sarah Fuller, that's it. Thank you, Trevor. Yep, thank you, Chris O. Sarah Fuller. I sent her a tweet and she rifled one right back at me at Dan Sileo Show. Thank you, man. It really means a lot coming from a former college football player. And I said, no, I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. There's no question that a woman, if you can compete as a kicker or in any position, you should have the right. I don't care. Thought it was a great moment. You know, are we going to see tons of this? I don't know. I doubt it. So I want to, you know, it's almost like CYA. You're covering your ass when you're like saying something like this, but I'm just telling you how I feel. I think it's really weird that, okay, Sakari Richardson, okay, you come down on her on weed and you tell her that she can't chase her dreams. But you could tell a guy who was, or excuse me, you could tell a person who was born a guy that you can steal a woman's dreams in her sport by calling yourself a woman. Where do you put that in the chapters of the guidelines for Olympic participation? And who rules on that? Who are the people that rule that that is fair competition? You know who rules on that? People who never competed. Lawyers, politicians. Completely unfair to women's sports. Then again, as I said, women's sports have been urinated on, and women in general have been in our history of our country. And hey, if I sound like I'm some, no, I maybe I sound more like a dad. My daughter goes like this to me, you know, Dad, there's really not a lot of vehicles for us to be able to play, because I told her this is one of the reasons why rugby is really growing in this country, because there's not a lot of combat sports that you can play unless you're going UFC or you're going, you know, MMA. You can't play football. You know, soccer, I don't know. Rugby is contact. It's a combat type sport like football. And that's why my daughter picked it. She's great at it too. She's actually, get this, she's actually practicing tonight with the San Diego Surfers. You know what they are? They're a professional rugby team. My daughter was invited to a professional rugby team to practice. I told her, I go, if I could practice with the Dallas Cowboys and I was in college, my God almighty, would that have helped me? You imagine being able to practice with professionals? You know, it's funny, though. This topic is very millennial. I was talking to my aunt. She was talking to someone, and they were for transgender competing in women's sports. My daughter is, too. It's a millennial topic. You know what my wife and I do? We stop the conversation because it makes you sound like you're a hater on transgender if you continue the conversation. You understand that, right? If you continue to stay on that side of the aisle, you sound like you're anti-transgender and you're like a transgender phobe or whatever. And so you should end it as much as you possibly can. Me, when I do it on my radio show, it's more of a debate. It's more of like I said too. You want to have separate parts of the games for that? I'll for it. But you know what happens? I'm going to tell you this. You know the Paralympics that we have? Those are great events. You know the Shrivers started that, right? Special Olympics. And if you don't know who Sergeant Shriver is, they were related to the Kennedys. And one of the Shrivers is the president, actually, of the Special Olympics. There were a lot of special needs kids in the Kennedy family. And Eunice and Sergeant Shriver founded that thing. They were in it together. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think a grandson or a son now runs it. Transgender do not want to be put in that category where it's like it's a disability, like Special Olympics. I don't know about you. When I look at the Special Olympic athletes and the special needs kids, you win a gold medal. I don't know. I have the same respect for you that somebody who's in the Tokyo Games this summer. And as a matter of fact, I give you more kudos because your journey is higher to climb. Timothy Shriver leads it now. Don't you have, I don't know why people do that. Special Olympic athletes, you know the extra miles that you have to climb to win a gold medal in that Olympics. I watch it every year, and I marvel at those athletes because you know why? If I had a special needs issue or my daughter had it, would I have the intestinal fortitude to put that away in my mind for me to compete and do that? You know, it's easy for people out there to sit there and go, oh, kids in a wheelchair. Really? Have you ever been disabled? God forbid. Those kids are heroes. I marvel at those kids. I don't look down at them. Oh, well, you know, it's Special Olympics. Only a lowlife would say that. Because if you're an athlete and you've competed in any way whatsoever to get your body ready for an event, you know the trials and tribulations it takes. And then imagine having a disabled right foot or leg or arm, or you have Down syndrome, or you have ALS, and you've got to put that aside. I don't know how those kids, I don't know how those kids can do that. I just really don't know how they do that. Sure. How those kids put their minds and put all of that distraction aside. You know, it's easy for us to say that, but to see those kids go through that and do it, I can tell you this, Chris. I know kids who don't I know you are. I know. No. I know you are. I know you are. But I know people that I played with that don't have the courage that those kids have. And the courage that these kids have is so special. It's actually, those are the best athletes that I'm telling you, I watch the Special Olympics all the time. I just absolutely love these kids. And I admire these people. So I understand again when people are doing this and they're saying, well, and the transgender folks don't want to be put in that category. Well, guess what? I have some respect for you too when it comes that you want to be somebody different and you put yourself out there like that, like Caitlyn Jenner. That's fine, man. That's fine. But I say this to you all the time, okay? Know this, that those kids and their gold medals are just as important as everyone else's gold medals. Just want to make sure everyone understands that. Amen. Amen. I mean, completely. Completely. All right. I do want to hit on our friend Aaron Rodgers. He's back in the news. Some other NFL news and the NBA Finals. We'll do it here. We keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. Thank you, dude. No, they can't. Yeah. Of course. None. Right. I'm trying to be a caretaker to women's sports. Sure. Right on. On the backs of women's sports, which again aggravates me. For 10 seconds of moment of fame so that you can prosper to make firemen. Right on. First responders on the COVID. Nothing more. I don't know why we. Yeah. Yeah. Ping pong players are not heroes for sure. Yo, completely. always had a problem with media people throwing the word hero around. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. You know, I'll tell you something. As a kid growing up, I never idolized athletes, movie stars, or anybody that was on television ever in my life that I idolize them. Never. Now, did I want to play like this particular football player or baseball player? Yes. But did I want to be them? No way. You know who my idol was? Was my grandpa. My grandpa raised his kids, his grandkids, very limited education when it came to high school. Was a fisherman, drove a cement truck, and was a fireman for 30 years. I watched this guy get up off his ass every day and go make a living. And you want to know something? My grandfather showed me every single day of his life he loved me. Never told me one day. Never in my life did I ever hear him go, I love you. But there wasn't a day I didn't know it. Are you kidding me? That guy saved my life. I knew it every freaking day. He did not have to tell me. I used to go with my grandma and my aunt, watch my grandpa go to fires, and he'd pull people out of houses and stuff and saving people's lives. One day, like, bricks fell on him. Should have been in a hospital. You know what he did? Got up, went and drove a cement truck for 8 hours. Oh, no, excuse me. It's reversed. The cement truck, he was working on a cement truck, and you know what? The bricks fell on him. Should have went to the hospital. Cuts all over him. You know what he did? He went and did an 8-hour shift at the fire department. That's a man's man. First responder. And let me tell you something. If you had trouble, you wanted my pop with you. You know, I got a bunch of helmets in my house. Buccaneer helmet, Canes helmets. I got my grandpa's fire helmet. Most important item I have in my home is that fire department helmet from Stanford Fire Department. That dude was a man. He was my idol. That's the guy I wanted to be. That's the guy I revered. Athletes, see, I was raised different. Maybe that's just because of, how I was raised. That's why when I look at people like Tiger and the guys that are on the tube, and even Olympians, heroes, no. Chris O just said something. The people that are pulling those bodies out of that fallen apartment complex in South Florida, those are heroes, man. The people that are there helping those folks that are the victims that are left behind, those are heroes. The COVID-19 first responders who were dealing with COVID-19, that were in hospitals, putting themselves in harm's way every single day, those are heroes. Teachers that teach, well, I don't know, the teachers union is starting to be a little bit wacky, but I'm still going to give it to them because they do teach our youth. Police officers, I can't wait to see how we treat our police officers when 9/11 comes up here in a couple weeks. You're going to still crap on them, piss on them, or are you going to respect them? Especially when you got tools in that city that wanted to fund the cops. Can you imagine this? If that, and I'm just play along with me here. Can you imagine if we were in a time right now and all these idiots were talking about defunding police, and all of a sudden Osama bin Laden drops those buildings? Would you still be talking about defunding cops when you watch those people run into those buildings trying to save lives, putting their own ass in harm's way, not going home to their own families? Did you ever think of that? We're such a selfish society sometimes. I mean it. Did you ever once think about those police officers from Ladder 11 that all lost their lives? How about those people that lost their lives? Ladder 11, everyone was killed. You know what they were doing? Saving you. It's pathetic, man. Oh, yeah. Firemen are a little close to my heart, too. I was raised by one. Okay? I was raised by one for 30 years. I do want to hit on Aaron. I do want to hit on Tom Brady. Appreciate my little rant there. Thank you so much. Firemen, women's sports. I guess it matters to me more. We'll reset. You keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. All right, man. Be right back. I was always good. No. I hear you, dude. Nah, I don't get like that. Oh, you can, but once again, you see, really, man. I mean, 14 consecutive years, and it was once again stolen from me. And how can you say that when a guy won it 14 years in a row, and then Hillary Clinton was behind it, as far as I'm concerned. That guy's a douche. It's okay. But know this, I still get up there. I'm going to tell you, man, I can still climb the Empire State Building. You think they made that top thing there for the Zeppelin? They made it for big sales. The little Zeppelin deal on the top of the Empire, they made that for me. Yeah. Cool comment. I'd like to know how high it would go. Yeah. Thank you. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. We hit on topics on this show that other shows in the United States of America do not. And by the way, nothing is off base here on this show. Oh, and so you may think at times, well, Sileo was conservative. At times. But I also know to do this. When you're beat, hello, scoreboard. I'm not one of those people on both sides. Isn't it funny? It's like the 2016 election. Democrats couldn't stand that Trump won. Republicans are now waving flags that Trump won in 2020. It's the same foolish game. It's dumb. Scoreboard? That's why sports is so with much clarity, because there's a winner and a loser. And you know what? There's no debating. And you know what's really cool about sports compared to politics? This is why politicians revere sports athletes. You know why? Because you'll never hear an athlete go, yeah, well, the better team lost. Because every time somebody does that, you come off like it's sour grapes, and everyone knows that you're a tool when you say it. Because there's like a decorum that athletes have. Like, watch this. I've said this before to people, and they know I've said this. I played my greatest game in a loss. It's embarrassing to say that. Still to this day, it's embarrassing. I played my greatest game in a game that 100 million people watched. Did you win it? No. Oh, well, how good could you have played? Oh. I have no answer to that. But with politicians and news talk people and progressive talk people, they come up with, well, wait till August. What? That's like saying this. Well, we're going to play a fifth quarter of this football game. There's only 4 quarters in a game. Well, no, we're going to add one. What? No. There's 4 quarters and 60 minutes of football. See, politicians like to extend these elections. They have these psychotic narratives. You know what's funny? Chris O, he says some things that certain people say to me, and I cringe. Really? How are you not embarrassed? Even if you're a conservative or liberal, how are you not embarrassed? Don't you look at yourself in the mirror when you're saying these things? I've actually had family members go, yeah, well, Trump thinks he's going to be put back in the White House. And I'm like, oh, my God, don't repeat that to anybody. You sound like a fool. Don't repeat that. Man, every time Chris says that in my ear to me, I go like this. Whoa, man. Okay. Just please don't do that because it sounds awful. Athletes, man, at least we see scoreboard. Hey, like Trevor on my Twitch page is saying this. No athlete would say both teams played hard. Yeah, all right? Oh, wait, Rasheed Wallace. Yeah, okay, right. I remember. But nobody does that. Winner, loser. Hello. That's why sports fans revere it. And you know what's crazy? That's why Republicans and Democrats can sit in a stadium and root for the same cause. Because there's clarity in that they see after 60 minutes of football or 48 minutes of basketball or 9 innings in a baseball game, 3 periods in hockey, whatever your sport is. There's clarity. And most people don't debate it. Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup last night in 5 games. You think there's any conversation? Here, let me give you a comparison on how politicians would dissect this. Well, you know, the Canadians, they really played hard, and they had to go through a much tougher bracket, and they were out of get. You start making excuses on why they got killed in 5 games. No, the Lightning were better. There's no getting around that. They're better. 3 lines. They're the defending champs. 9th team in NHL history to go back-to-back. Think of that for a minute. Do you think there's clarity in that comment? The NHL has been playing since the 1890s, maybe 80s. Maybe like 1890, something like that. And they're the 9th team to go back-to-back. That's pretty impressive. And they're an expansion franchise that people thought would never work in the state of Florida. Stanley with a tan? Oh, that's 3 times now. A franchise in Florida where it's football country, it's Gator country, it's Buccaneer country, it's now Lightning country. It's pretty impressive. It is. But everybody in that arena last night, nobody cared what your politics were. They cared that they were rooting for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That is the difference between what I do and the other losers that are on the radio and what they do. They'll come up with some psychotic January 6th, whatever. Really, I'd like to know who killed that woman. I still haven't heard who that police officer was, that Capitol cop who shot that woman, that unarmed woman. I'd like to know who killed her. Maybe somebody will tell us one day. But you see, it's more about, you know, people talking about those people rush. I didn't hear anybody bitching about the courthouses during the summertime that people were burning down. That's insurrection too, you know. Think of that. But hey, I digress. Let's go into something about leadership here. Let me get off that and go into leadership here. I'm going to throw something at you here. I love Tom Brady. You know why I love Tom Brady? He's a leader. And you know what? We talk about people with leadership, and we talk about people who just want to win. You know, I'd vote for Tom Brady. You know why people would vote for athletes for like Senate seats and House of Representative seats? Is because these guys know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to bring teams together. Think about this for a second. When you're a quarterback in an NFL team, you have Muslims, you have Catholics, you have Baptist, you have blacks, you have white, now you have gay. That's public. And you've got to motivate every single one of those groups to form a perfect unit. Honey, wow, wait a minute. To form a perfect union. Interesting. Now I know where that dynamic comes from now. Never thought about it until right now. To form a perfect union or a perfect unit. Maybe they're one and the same. Okay? Tom has to do all that. So there's a number I want to throw at you. Tom Brady is on the cusp of 700 touchdowns in his insane career. 700 touchdowns. I want you to put this in perspective here. Let me throw this at you here. Let me go over to the page that I got the exact numbers here. Brady's got 581 touchdown passes in the regular season and 83 in the postseason. It comes out to 664. He's 36 away from 700 touchdowns. You think he cares about that number? Here's why he doesn't care. You know, Dan Marino, a couple years back, was the all-time leading passer in the history of the National Football League. At every record there was. And I said this years ago about Marino's numbers. In 10 years, nobody's going to care about Dan Marino's numbers. As a matter of fact, Dan Marino's position in how fans see Dan Marino will diminish. No way, Dan's this, Dan. Really? Well, there's been a boatload of guys that have gone by his records. And now you look at Dan Marino as really one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But you don't put him in the conversation as the greatest quarterback. When he retired, that conversation was pretty close between him and Elway. Now, because he didn't win championships. You know what Brady's greatest records are? Ready? He's the all-time regular season win guy. He has the most wins in postseason play. Oh, and he's got the most Super Bowl wins in 7. Those are 3 records that are near and dear to his heart. I think he's got like 37 postseason victories as well. 10 times he's been to the Super Bowl. I mean, these guys won 70% of the games that he's played in the big game. It's incredible. 700 touchdowns means nothing. He's the ultimate winner. You see, in 10 years from now, we're going to look at Brady and go, this guy's got 700 touchdowns. This is just a cherry on top of everything. This guy's got 700 touchdowns, and he's the all-time winningest guy. You understand that Babe Ruth played his final game, I think, like in 41, something like that, right? And we still talk about him to this day. There's only 14 actual minutes of Babe Ruth on film. Do you know that? 14 minutes. 14 minutes of actual footage of him playing. And we revere that guy after almost, 90 years since he's played his last ball game. It's remarkable. That's when you know your star power. Look at Jordan. Michael Jordan, we revere him more today than we did back then, didn't we? Even though we revered him so much. Jordan's a god today. It's like Jordan never played a bad game. You're like, well, that's not really true. You know? It's not really true. But we revere it. And Brady, I mean, this guy has done everything. And I tell you, his greatest asset is the fact that he's the greatest leader and the greatest leader of men, and he's the greatest teammate. You know, I talked to Doug Williams yesterday, and, you know, Doc Walker, who played on those Washington Redskin teams back in the day when they were the Skins, says that when he walked into the room, Doug Williams commanded the room, and everyone in the room gravitated to him. There's just certain guys, man. When you walk in, it's funny, Doug, I'll never forget Doug going like this. That's one thing Dwayne Haskins didn't have when he was in Washington. He walked into a room and nobody, wanted to play for him. He says, man, when you walk into these rooms, you got to make these men, and you got to inspire these men Not able to do that. Not able to do that. 700 touchdowns, though. Wow. What a career. What a career. It's funny, the one thing Brady can't do now? He's having a hard time divorcing the sport. He just can't let go. That's love for it. I will hit on Aaron Rodgers. Learned another thing about Rodgers yesterday. I'll tell you what that is next. Bad weather. Yeah, my aunt told me it's bad weather back east. Can't smell good in the subways. Yeah, you know what happens when the water comes into the subways? Those rats are everywhere. Yeah. Trevor says it's raining bad. Yeah, he's in Connecticut. Yeah. Oh, the Deacon's flooded. Oh, Shannon Burke just commented. Let me see what he said. They're really looking forward to me joining that station. The owner just said something on my Facebook. John Carolla. He owns 14. I think he owns either 14 or 22 stations. And believe me, if I kick ass, they'll put me on all of them. One of them's in Long Island. It goes into the city too. No, and hey, dude, I'm rolling here. Growing this bitch. I know. You know what, too, Chris? Just sometimes when you want to put the flag up, it's always like you always do this, don't you? You always do it too soon. Correct. Huh. I love that book. Dan Sileo USA Radio Network. Trevor just told me that the Deacons filled and footage everywhere of rain going on in New York City right now. It's like Elsa and all that. Can you imagine this too? All the things that are going on in South Florida, and you have the building falling, then you have the hurricane. I mean, when it rains, it pours. I don't mean to use that analogy, but it really is. And so, just we send our prayers out to anybody affected by this. I know it's going through the Carolinas now too, and it's up in the East Coast, and they're just getting pelted right now. So everybody, I hope it's going to be cool these next couple days too. So we send a lot of love out there to you. I tell people all the time my favorite respite is sports, and I always get in these predicaments because I had a guy on my Twitter page say something to me because I asked Doug Williams a question yesterday if racism played a factor in Doug Williams not getting the Kentucky job. I asked him if the Kentucky alumni pressured the president not to give him the job. You have to understand something about the legendary Doug Williams. Doug is one of the nicest people I've ever been around, and he's a dear friend of mine. And I asked him, he goes, well, I was told I had the job the night before. I woke up in the morning. I didn't have it. And they gave the job to someone else. And I said, do you think the president pressured him? He goes, well, that's just one of the things. I was like, wow. And I posted that on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show. Then we got into minority hirings. And Doug said they're in reverse on opportunities. How's Jim Caldwell not have a job, or Eric Bieniemy not have a job? Okay. And you know what's crazy? Doug's not going to throw shade on people like Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland or Brandon Staley in Los Angeles with the Chargers. He's not going to do that. Or Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona. Even though I don't know how Cliff Kingsbury got that job in Arizona. He sucked at Texas Tech. How did he get that gig? I don't know how he got that gig. Why? Because he had a relationship with Patrick Mahomes? I guess that's how Adam Gase got the jobs in both Miami and New York, I guess. So I ask these tough questions when I interview people. I had a guy post something on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show. Dan, way to go. Way to ask questions that no one will ask or afraid to ask. I sent back a tweet to him and said, well, that comes at a cost. And he's like, what's the cost? Well, if you flub up in any way, say something dumb, which I have, people in my business will, like they do back in the old Hollywood days, they'll splice the film to make a narrative sound like you're somebody completely different than who you are. Again, I'm not replaying history here today, but I'm just telling you that when you do something and you say something and you stay in a field that most people are afraid, you got to be prepared to take the collateral damage. I actually had people on my Twitter page go, Jesus, Sileo, I thought you were a racist. How's Doug Williams one of your best friends? I said, I think you answered your own question. Do me a favor, my friends. Check out our other friends at podcasterwarehouse.com. Headphones, earbuds, anything you're looking for. 25% off of everything that's on the website. Use the promo code Sileo, SS and Sam ILEO. $5 to $5,000. Podcasterwarehouse.com. Podcasterwarehouse.com. I want to hit on the 49ers, and I swear I'll get to Aaron Rodgers. We'll do it all next. You keep it right here on USA Radio Network and the Dan Sileo Show. I like your thinking. Holy cow. Trevor just sent me a post, dude, of what it looks like in the subways. Yes. Oh my God, is that disgusting? Oh, yes. Oh my God. Wow, is that disgusting? Me. King Kong. No, only guy. Only guy. Now you have to understand, you put a hole in that wall in that subway, that water goes right out of there, Junior. Or what you do is you slam Godzilla into a wall using his head. Can't. Stole the golden coconut. Yeah. 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 Show up in the moat at any time. Holy cow, I'm looking again here. Oh my God, is that the 5th Street Bridge? Oh no, it's the Deacon. It's the it's the expressway. Wow, that's unbelievable. The who? The who? The Mets. A Kong. No, Kong's got a big day tomorrow. I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm doing a show in Philly in the morning. Then I'm doing that other thing at what do you call it? At 1 o'clock, and then I'm doing my. So I got full day tomorrow, Biggie. But that's what happens when you piecemeal everything together. And you know what? Hey, no complaining. I just got through telling people about LeBron James and shit. 5 in the morning. I think that's up in Sacramento. Yeah. Sacramento, who cares? I really love Sacramento, and I want everyone to know. Oh, no. I let me. CBS guy? Name sounds familiar. I think you and I know just about pretty much the same people. Sexy. Dan Sileo USA Radio Network. Hope all are having a great night. Just got a nice tweet from Doug Williams' son follows me now on Twitter, said, thanks for saying all the great things about my pop. And I was like, as I tell my friend Chris, bank? Don't thank me for not robbing a bank, dog. He's a great dude. He's a great man. You root for people like Doug Williams. Held back because of racist people. Fact. How about this story with Doug? Just to talk a little bit, in case I had a conversation with him yesterday, former Super Bowl MVP. And I was like, don't you think there's a hole in your resume that you only got a chance to coach Grambling? And I know you took over for Eddie Robinson, and I know that you're alma mater, and I know how much it means to you, Grambling. By the way, I love Grambling. He's like, I don't look at things like that, Dan. I just don't. Man, isn't that great to hear people that face racism in their entire career called the N-word all the time when he was starting quarterback from the home crowd in Tampa because they didn't like a black face representing the Buccaneers. But that was a different time. I asked him what he thought of the African-American quarterback today. Yeah, you know the historical reference to Doug, right? He's the first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl MVP because he's a quarterback. And he led that Washington team, who was owned by Jack Kent Cooke, and we all know the history there, to a title. And I said, you know that the top 5 quarterbacks in the league are African-American that are the highest paid players in the league. The players of today stood on the shoulders of James Harris and Doug Williams and Warren Moon. Stood on their shoulders so that they could see over the mountaintop. And now they're the richest men in the league. Highest paid player in the National Football League is Dak Prescott. Second is Mahomes. Third is Deshaun Watson. Fourth is Russell Wilson. I mean, you're talking about the evolution of that position where we're no longer, it's great. We're now in a position where we're doing this. Watch. It's no longer can the black quarterback play the position. That was actually a narrative at one time that they couldn't. For whatever reason. You know why they didn't want them? They were afraid of the face of, you want me to tell you why I'm going to do something here that everyone's afraid to do. You ready? Do you know why there's more African-American quarterbacks today in the NFL than we've ever seen before? Do you know why? Because the NFL has finally relented in what the college game was. And that the quarterbacks that are African-American in college, they were read option guys. They used their athleticism. When they got to the NFL, they were looking for white guys that dropped back, had no athleticism, and that was it. The great colleges that were winning ball games, like the Alabamas, the Nebraskas, who were they using? The Turner Gills, the African-American quarterbacks. They were using those players, but when they were given an opportunity to go play in the NFL, you know what they were traditionally told? You got to change your position. That's what they told Warren Moon. When Warren Moon led the Washington Huskies to a Rose Bowl title, I believe they beat Michigan. You know what he was told? You might want to try a different position. Hell, they just got through telling Lamar Jackson that. The quarterback for the Ravens, Tom Telesco, who I love, the general manager of the Chargers said, you might want to try wideout. The guy won the MVP 2 years ago. Bill Polian said, this guy will never make it as a quarterback. He should try to be a wideout. This guy won 80% of his ball games since he's been a starting quarterback. And the reason we're seeing more is because the NFL owners have finally said, let's resemble more what the college game looks like. That's why you see less busts today at the quarterback position. Is just because of that. Because you're seeing more athleticism at the position. By the way, That's not code for them not being able to think and be smart. Lamar Jackson, I start with this. Great leadership, tremendous smarts, and he's athletic. That's what makes him great. But it was always code in the past for this. Watch. Well, that black quarterback is really, really an athlete. Bank, you're in the NFL, kid. Really? Well, I mean, what'd you think he was? A bowler? The NFL now looks like the college game. Spread offense, move guys around. It's great. And you're seeing more white quarterbacks in college play with athleticism. The Josh Allens of the world. Guys who move around. Josh Allen, the quarterback in Buffalo, plays the same way that Lamar Jackson, maybe a little bit better in the passing game, but they're very similar in how they play the game. Very similar. Let me get to him for a second here. Josh Allen was a kid that had an issue when he came out of Wyoming. You know what that was? People went back in his Twitter feed and they found racist tweets that the kid made when he was 17, maybe even 15. There were some N-bombs in there too. Do you know what he immediately had to do when he was drafted by the Buffalo Bills? By the way, it was ugly. And the Bills were very disappointed to see those. Had to walk in, and Josh Allen had to apologize. Hey, man, I'm sorry, guys, if I've offended anybody. I was a stupid kid. Do you know what he's done over the last 3 years? His teammates love him. The community embraces him. The organization reveres him. People around the NFL think so highly of him now that you know what you've done in building up all that equity over the last 3 years? You've made people forget that. And you know what the Bills and Sean McDermott came out today and said? He was asked a question about giving him a long-term contract extension. You don't give people who use the N-word long-term contract extensions. I don't care how good you are, unless a community has embraced you, your teammates embraced you, and your organization reveres you. He's done all the right things, checked all the right boxes, starting out on a bad note. If you're going to write a blueprint on how to redeem yourself and how you do it with hard work and how you make your teammates want to play for you, Josh Allen is the guy you give a contract extension to. He's the guy that you want as your face of your franchise. That's the guy that you do this to. Jesus criminy. You know, I was telling you before, the one thing about Dak Prescott that I just absolutely fall in love with him. And I tell you this. See, I love character in people, not characters. I love the character in him. And I love Dak. Ever since Dak Prescott got hurt, I have gained more respect for him on how you do things the right way. Cowboys dragging their feet on getting a long-term contract done with him. I talked to Stephen Jones a couple weeks ago, and you know what Stephen said? It was never about money. It was always about the length of the contract. Okay? Because we wanted Dak to be the face of the franchise. Okay? If I'm going to put a game plan when I draft a quarterback, I'm going to call it the Dak Prescott game plan. I'm going to hand it to the kid, and I'm going to look at the kid and say, you want to get everything you want in life? You want to be revered in this sport? Here's the Dak Prescott press guide. Do everything that he's done, and you may one day be the highest paid player in the NFL. Dak was a fourth-round draft choice out of Mississippi State. You know, when you're a fourth-round draft choice, you know what that means, right? 32 teams miss on you 4 times. They miss on you. That's why the Brady draft is even more immense. 32 teams missed on Tom Brady 6 times. 6 times you had a chance to draft that guy. And you, even the Patriots, who passed on him 5 times. Think of that for a minute. You know, the Patriots drafted Tom Brady. Well, they missed on him 5 times too. Hell, I'd like to know who the guys were that they thought was better than that guy. But then again, nobody really thought that guy was going to make it in the league. Again, back to the point with Josh Allen, though. You reward character, not characters. That's why I have problems with the wideouts making the money, because they're the bravado guys on the team. I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for the Tim Tebow persona stuff. I'm paying for production. I'm paying for people that this particular guy can motivate in a locker room. Are you that guy? Are you the guy that I give the keys to and I do this? All right. I'm going to draw the game plan up, and I'm going to put it in your hands to execute. You know, that's like business people doing this. You know, the CEOs that are the best are the CEOs that do this. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Here's my game plan. Here. I give it to you. Execute it. And then you stay out of the way. And then you evaluate them as they're doing the job. Remember, bosses, you know what they like to do? Take the credit for success, and they like to pass failure off onto someone else. The true executive will take full responsibility for the guy he drafts or the guy he hires, because it's also a reflection on you, on your hiring capabilities, your management skills, and your communication skills. And most importantly, as an executive, your patience. How many times do you hire somebody or you see an athlete being brought in and he sucks out loud right away? And boy, that rocks every executive. And you know what? I would say this to you. Out of 10 executives, 8 of them panic. Holy cow, man, I made the wrong hire. This guy sucks. Instead of, well, maybe he's nervous. Maybe I'm not explaining it correctly to him. Maybe I put too much on the table for him. You look at the athlete or employee and think it's his fault instead of your fault in communicating, instead of working with him. That's patience. That's why I tell you about a team like the Steelers. The Steelers do that. Well, maybe I've given this guy too much here. They'll pull back. They want you to succeed, and it's a reflection on them. And by the way, when you draft a guy in Pittsburgh in the first round or in the 5th round, they look at you in the same way. It's a reflection on the front office. Pittsburgh doesn't hire free agents, friends. They don't do that. They take that draft and they look at personnel and they put you through a regular hiring practice. Talk to your high school coach. Talk to your preacher. Talk to people that you engage with. They want to know who you are, not if you can play. How many times do I tell you, if you get into an NFL draft and you're in the conversation, Jesus criminy, that's the least of my problems. And that's the last thing I'm going to evaluate. Because you know why? If you're in the conversation on being drafted, bank, duh. What the hell do you think you're in the room for? It's those little things that people don't evaluate. How many times you see organizations or businesses, they keep just hiring the wrong guy? Why do you think that is? They don't take the time. And they don't tell them what's expected of them. They're not honest. You know, honestly, when I see a business or a team that doesn't win, I say this to people. There must be not a lot of honesty going on in that building. It's a fact. Can't keep sucking for 30 years and go, I don't know, it's his fault. Josh Allen deserves a contract extension. And I'm looking forward to the Bills doing it. All right. Derek Carr, I want to hit on him. Raider QB, we'll do it next. What's that mean? Oh, no. Tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, but we're not doing that now. The season's over. Hey, Don. Oh, really? No, I just hand out beatings to him. No, I will not. Beat that guy's ass to a pulp. I think that's a really great comment by him, actually. No. No. I have no interest in that. It's been tried before. I have no interest in that. There's been a mediator that's tried. It's just not going to happen. No, it was Dr. Phil. It was Dr. Phil. Yeah, Dr. Phil tried that shit, and I said, "Go away. Go talk to Oprah." I'm never like gonna ever be in a conversation with Dr. Phil again. Guy was an asshole. No, I didn't. No. I just walked out of the room. He may have smacked him. I don't know. But then again, I told you before, the problem with Godzilla is his reach. No. He's going to be like kind of decent at like, climbing trees. But his tail gets in the way. See, that's always a big detriment in a fist fight when he fights me. I grab him by his tail and fling him around. Then I drop the King Kong Bundy elbow on him and it's over. Thank you. By the way, are you watching the NBA Finals? Right. Chris O just in my ear said, who? Sounds like he's scrapping through feathers, sitting on a tree limb. Right? Who? What are you, an owl? 86-77. Do you care about Phoenix in Milwaukee? Now, again, our great folks in Phoenix, no question. Congratulations. Up 2-0. Awesome. A franchise that has been absolutely dormant for 12 years. Hey, I'll say this to you. Seeing the fans in Phoenix cheering in the Valley is cool. And I'm going to be more partial to this because my daughter goes to school in Phoenix. And all the folks in Phoenix are going crazy right now. Great. Do you think that translates in LA, New York, Chicago, Dallas, Miami? And it's not because your product sucks. It's because the promoting of the NBA sucks. This storyline that's going on between Maria Taylor and Rachel Nichols is embarrassing. More people are talking about that on the internet and ESPN's ills and how they run their business than they're talking about the game. You know this? How it's a cutthroat company. Disney called an emergency meeting today with ESPN. Do you know that? That's a fact. They want to know how they're running their company. And do you know, I'll tell you something else about ESPN here. Many of you probably don't know this. Do you know Disney stock would be through the roof if it wasn't for ESPN? ESPN drags the stock down. I can promise you this. If ESPN was ever in a position where they could be sold by Disney, Disney would dump that thing in 5 seconds. But they can't. They're so in debt because of the property rights that they've divvied out to, like, the NBA, the NFL. I mean, they're buried in debt. Buried in it. Why do you think they cut loose of guys like Colin Cowherd and Skip Bayless and all these other high-priced people? They've cut loose all their talent because they can't afford them anymore. And I think Jamel Hill said something perfect today. And it was really one of the first times. And you know what? It's funny. Jamel and I used to be dear friends when she worked at the Orlando Sentinel. Jamel said something very interesting today on another podcast. She said this: ESPN wants to have black faces on their network, but they don't want black voices. Well, the problem with that comment is it's true. But what Jamel doesn't get is you're not giving the audience what they want to hear and see. You just can't placate to one group of people. Aren't you trying to get as many fans as possible? Do you know how you get as many fans as possible? You talk sports. You're trying to get black and white people to enjoy the game. I don't want to have to think about sitting around talking about BLM when I'm thinking about looking at Giannis playing against the Suns. I get enough of that when I come in every night and I'm talking to Chris O about the political landscape that sucks every day in this country. Why do you think Chris names my show the Radio Happy Hour? Because you get out of that. Hey, like Marcus Aurelius said, okay? And just like Maximus, both those men, okay? Tell me what we need to hear. Marcus Aurelius, Maximus, are you not entertained? Entertain me, man. ESPN, the Entertainment Sports Network, not the political sports network. And then what you've done here is these two teams, they're left in the collateral damage of what's happened over the last 2 years. It's probably a great series, and I'm watching it. All right, we'll reset. Man, there's so much going on in sports. God, it's such a great time of the year. We'll reset. You keep it right here on the Dan Sileo Show. Oh, thank you. I know you do. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Chris. I'll talk to you tomorrow, my friend. Talk to you tomorrow, my friend. Bye-bye. Thank you. I'm glad you loved the show. All right, man. Yeah, no, it's great. It was. All right, brother. Thank you so much. Bye.